White black fish high in the air. Repeat after me. One God.
One God.
One name.
One aim.
One destiny.
One destiny.
Africa for the Africans at home.
Africa for the Africans at home.
And the Africans abroad.
And the Africans abroad.
I say.
Ashe.
I want to ask everyone to please put their phone on vibrator. Or put it down, put it lower, way down loud. And doing like security. Doing libation. We don't want any unnecessary movement. Now it's the elders, someone else have to move. Security will not let anyone in doing libation. We're going to call on Brother Manson to perform libation. Everyone, please be seated.
Hotep, everyone.
Hotep.
How y'all feeling? Peaceful. It's a good day. We all woke up today. Now, it is customary for us to praise the Creator and also remember the ancestors, the many bridges that brought us over at the start of everything we do. Ashe?
Ashe.
Repeat after me, please. Modimo.
Modimo.
Modimo Moholo.
Modimo Moholo.
That is Nelson and Winnie Mandela's language. Modimo, God, Moholo is great. Mungu.
Mungu.
Mungu Asifiwe.
Mungu Asifiwe.
Kiswahili, Mungu, God, Asifiwe, be praised. Mwari.
Mwari.
Mwari Wakanaka.
Mwari Nakanawa.
Mama Myers, that's Ruachiri's language from Zimbabwe. Our departed brother from Zimbabwe. Mwari is God, Wakanaka is great. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
That's peace be unto you. Allah.
Allah.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allah, God, Wakbar is great. Now, for the libation, we remember the many bridges that brought us up. We have a whole lot of great ancestors, too numerous to name, but I'm just going to do some of them. For the Honorable Marcus Garvey and all the great people in the UNIA, ACL over the years who've passed, we pour and say, libation.
Libation.
For the Honorable Charles L. James and Estelle James, we pour and say,
Libations.
for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and all the believers of the mighty, mighty nation of Islam, we pour and say,
Libations.
for the Honorable Noble Drew Ali and all the righteous followers of the Moorish Science Temple, we pour and say,
Libations.
for Gene Slappy, Luther Farrell, Willie C. Myers, awesome people in the UNIA, we pour and say,
Libations. Ashe.
for Marcel Porter, Naira Bota, the Honorable Lou and Georgia Palmer, we pour and say,
Libations. Ashe.
for Ruachiri from Zimbabwe, Elkin Sintole from South Africa, we pour and say,
Libations. Ashe.
now these are folks that were right here in Chicago with us, y'all, teaching and educating and organizing.
Yes.
For the Honorable Attorney Lewis Myers and our brother, Reverend Dr. Kwame John Porter, who passed away, his service was yesterday, we pour and say,
Libations. Ashe.
for Sister Chennai of the All African People's Revolutionary Party, and for Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., we pour and say,
Libations. Ashe.
for Dr. King, whose sacrifice month is April. For Malcolm X, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, we pour and say,
Libations. Ashe.
for Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, and all those great sisters. Dr. Barbara Sizemore, we pour and say,
Libations. Ashe.
for Dr. Webb Evans, we pour and say,
Libations. Ashe.
and for all those that we didn't name, whose shoulders we're standing on, we pour and say,
Libations. Ashe.
it is done. Ashe.
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 That's how Asante.
Asante.
Okay, sister.
Everyone please stand. Sister Latoya, perform all to the flag. Face our flag. Right fist high in the air. Come on, Queen.
Here to this flag of mine.
Here's to this flag of
The
mine,
red, black, and green.
the red, black, and green.
Hopes in this future bright.
Hopes in this future bright,
Africa has seen.
Africa has seen.
Here's to the red of it.
Here's to the red of it.
Great nations shall know of it.
Great nations shall know of it.
In time to come.
In time to come,
Red blood shall flow of it.
red blood shall flow of it.
Historians shall write of it.
Historians shall write of it.
Great flag of mine.
Great flag of mine.
Here's to the black of it.
Here's to the black of it.
400 million back of it.
400 million back of it.
Whose destiny depends on it.
Whose destiny depends on it.
Red, black, and green of it.
The red, black, and green of it.
Old flag of mine.
Old flag of mine.
Here's to the green of it.
Here's to the green of it.
Young men shall dream of it.
Young men shall dream of it.
Face shot and shells of it.
Face shot and shells of it.
Maddie shall sing of it.
Many shall sing of it.
Waving so high.
Waving so high.
Here's to the whole of it.
Here's to the whole of it.
Colors brought in pole of it.
Colors brought and pole of it.
Pleased is my soul with it.
Pleased is my soul with it.
Regardless of what is told of it.
Regardless of what is told of it.
Thank God for giving it.
Thank God for giving it.
Great flag of mine.
Great flag of mine.
I say. Hey, remain standing, please. I say, thank you, Queen. Brother Greg is going to lead us in our UNIA pledge. Come on, brother. That's right. That's right. Power to the people.
Power to the people.
Peace and love, my siblings.
Peace and love.
Right fist to the sky. That's all to repeat after me, after my pauses. I commit my body, mind, and spirit
I commit my body, mind, and spirit
to the protection, defense, and security
to the protection, defense, and security
of the red, black, and green.
of the red, black, and green.
I dedicate my life
I dedicate my life
to the redemption of Mother Africa
to the redemption of Mother Africa
and the liberation of us scattered black children.
and the liberation of our scattered black children.
I accept for myself
I accept for myself
and my descendants
and my descendants
the teachings of universal African nationalism.
the teachings of universal African nationalism.
I promise that our children will be instilled
I promise that our children will be instilled
with the purpose and knowledge
in knowledge
of themselves
of themselves
as African people,
as African people,
in order that the cause of our struggle
in order that the cause of our struggle
will neither falter nor fail
will neither falter nor fail,
until all black people
until all black people
are free and united
are free and united
through one God,
through one God,
one aim,
one aim,
and one destiny.
one destiny.
I say.
I say,
I say. Please be seated. Right now, I'm going to call the Queen tonight. Do our welcome.
Greetings, Africans.
greetings,
Those
Karibu,
of you I want to say Islam. Islam. Those of you I want to say Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum,
Those of you I want to say Abari Ghani.
Punjabi,
And for those of you I say Hotep.
Hotel.
If this is your first time, welcome to the Garvey Center. This is the center, epicenter of Black thoughts. Also, we would like to say welcome to the Sir Isaiah Mortar Division 401 Mass Meeting. Peace, love, and light.
Right on.
I say. Right now, I'd like to call up our correspondent secretary for Division 401, Sister Gwen, to introduce our guest speaker.
Good afternoon, Gaviites.
Good afternoon.
Eid ain't titled Mama D Love Ya Nubian is affectionately called Mama D. Mama D is a minister. She's an author. She's an educator. She's an activist. She's an international award-winning poet. She is a crusader for children's rights. She is, at the very least, an exceptionally extraordinary woman. And I am honored to know her. Brothers and sisters, let me present to some and introduce to others our woman of the hour, Mama D. And while she's coming, I do have her profile, but she asked me to hold off until after the program, because I want you to take her story with you.
Right on. Go ahead, sister.
Hallelujah, greetings to everybody. Greetings. I would like to sort of give a commercial before I go into my presentation. I have on this table I should have brought it up. I have on this table here a United States Supreme Court complaint that I filed in the federal building dealing with heart and mind damage of our children. So it was dismissed, denied at the district level. I worked it up to the level of United States of Appeals and worked it up to the United States of America. And it was denied on June 8, 2015. At the Chicago State University, they had a working group of people from the United Nations that took 2-minute testimonies. This is my 2-minute testimony that I testified at Chicago State University, and this was January 24th, 2016. This was after the United Nations designated 2015 to 2024 as the International Decade for people of African descent in protest of the police killings of black men and boys, the massive schools closings, and the disproportionate arrests. So in this, I included in my complaint 20 exhibits. And these are 20 exhibits that I thought all people, particularly indigenous African Americans, should know about. So this is the resolution. First of all, I started out with the exhibit on the Brown versus Board of Education decision of May 17, 1954. It will be 65 years next month, May 17, 1954. And then I included in here Dr. King's original I Have a Dream speech, and it is done on his manual typewriter. I don't think that you will find that today. Also, I included the executive order number 11365. This was the Kerner report, and the two Americas, one separate and unequal. We need to familiarize ourselves with that. Also, one of my exhibits was a resolution on genocide, so that you can know for yourself what genocide means and how it's defined. one of the, this was the Genocide Accountability Act that comes with $1 million. And I included an exhibit on that. Also, the apology for slavery. Now, everybody, the HR 40 calls for a commission to study, to form a commission, and it also calls for an apology for slavery. But here it is, the United States Senate did an apology for slavery on June 18, 2009. So that's already been done. Also, in this apology for slavery, they mentioned that all the things that they did, breaking up the families, the dehumanizing, the stripping of our names and our heritage, all of that is right here in this apology. But when they got to Bill Clinton and George Bush, they are featured in this apology as saying the vestiges of slavery and Jim Crow still exist today. And each one of those presidents had 8 years and they did absolutely nothing about it. But they admitted in this United States Senate apology for slavery. The other thing that you should look at if you get a copy of this apology for slavery is the fact that they are saying that slavery and Jim Crow didn't end until the late 60s. It says, and it goes on to say that in the 60s when they eliminated discrimination, the separate but equal clause, when they got rid of that, they said it was unconstitutional because it only existed to keep the status of the Negro down. It didn't say anything about anybody else's status. Plus, it caused heart and mind damage, which was serious to children. And under the definition of genocide, it was genocide damage. So this is 1954. The reason you should read that stuff about the heart and mind damage is because causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group is by definition genocide. And they admitted genocide when they said that this segregation laws had harmed the children, and it was doubtful that they would ever overcome it because it was irreparable harm. So in this, finally, in this apology for slavery, they said we should not minimize any of the horrors that happened to us as a people. But then they said it lasted, didn't end in 1865, that this damage lasted way up into the 60s, and then Congress changed the law. But they do not say it took 11 years of boycotting, picketing, protesting, being bullied, bombed, and murdered, fighting for the rights to be citizens in the land of our birth, 100 years after that right had been given to us in the 15th Amendment. So if you go to the 29th floor in the federal building on Jackson, you can pull up this, and it costs 50 cents a page for these 20 pages of exhibits. And I have some here for $10, just paying for the Xeroxes. But this is something that people really should have. And this is just my first published work. I wrote this eulogy on Dr. King, the King of Man, April 4th, 1968, the day and night he was assassinated. And these are exact my words and my feelings. And it became my first published work. So I thank you for letting me do that commercial. Okay. In the name of Yah, as in hallelujah, Yah the Father, the Holy Spirit, Mother of wisdom and comfort, and Yahshua, the Christ, the Messiah, the truth,